Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by asking you a dangerous question. What if everything you've been taught about prosperity is incomplete? What if true prosperity isn't in your bank account, but in your understanding of who you are? What if prosperity was never a promise of money, but a manifestation of purpose? We've been shouting for blessings, but we've forgotten the blueprint. We've been asking God for harvests, but ignoring the principles of the kingdom. And here's the truth. God never responds to emotion. He responds to principles. Say it with me. God responds to principles. Before you ask God for provision, ask Him one critical question. Why am I here? You see, until you understand the original intent of a thing, you will always misuse its value. And that's why so many people are frustrated, tired, running on empty, chasing things that never satisfy, because they're trying to get God to fund a life He never authored. Heaven does not sponsor confusion. Heaven funds intention. God does not bankroll your ambition. He resources His own blueprint. And that's why the first thing He gives you is not money, not fame, not opportunity. He gives you identity. And identity is always tied to intent. You are not a mistake. You are not an experiment. You are a strategic solution wrapped in skin, born into time for a divine season. But here's the problem. We've been trained to ask the wrong questions. We ask, what can I get? God asks, what did I send you to solve? The trees don't pray for fruit. They produce it. Birds don't fast to learn how to fly. They are designed to fly. Likewise, when you discover your design, you won't beg for prosperity, you will attract it. Its design reveals function, and function determines supply. Let me show you how this works. Take a fish. It never prays for water. Why? Because water is its natural environment. As long as it stays where it was created to be, it doesn't need to strive to survive. You were never created to strive, you were created to thrive in your domain. Now imagine a fish trying to live on land, gasping, struggling, dying. That's how many of you look in life, exhausted, disoriented, misplaced. Not because you're cursed, but because you're out of alignment with your original context. Prosperity flows in the environment of divine placement. It's not about more hustle. It's about returning to the blueprint. Ask the manufacturer, not the market. The world will give you titles, but only your Creator gives you truth. So stop looking at someone else's lane and asking, why not me? Start asking, what was I created to do? Because the moment you tap into your original assignment, something shifts. Ideas begin to flow, resources begin to find you. People begin to favor you. You don't chase the blessing chases you. Say this with me. I refuse to live a life I was not designed for. Because the secret to true prosperity is not in what you earn, it's in what you were born to become. The greatest tragedy of our generation is this. We chase what we were meant to attract. We run after things that were designed to run after us. We pursue blessings while ignoring the behaviors that make us blessable. But hear this clearly. Prosperity was never designed to be your goal. It was designed to follow your obedience. That's why Jesus never said, seek prosperity. He said, seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added. Us chased, not begged for, not manipulated through emotion. The word added means attached to something greater. Let me ask you, Are you building your life around addition or alignment? Because if you chase what God says will be added, you'll miss what can only be revealed. And that's why so many live exhausted, hustling in circles, accumulating things while bankrupting their souls. You don't need another side hustle. You need clarity. You don't need another investor. You need alignment. Look at creation. Everything is sustained by what it's connected to. The tree flourishes not because it tries, but because it's rooted. The eagle doesn't attend flight school. It soars because it surrenders to the wind. You were never designed to grind your way into peace. You were created to flow from the center of divine order. I know what the culture says. Get the bag, secure the win, chase the dream. But if the dream wasn't authored by God, then the success will suffocate you. Many are climbing ladders only to find them leaning against the wrong wall. That's why in the kingdom, success is not measured by applause or assets. It's measured by assignment. Who did you become? What did you obey? What did you impact? Prosperity without peace is poverty in disguise. Success without sanctity is slavery in luxury. And I declare to you today, stop chasing what was supposed to be attracted. Refocus your life. Return to divine ardor. Reestablish your rhythm with heaven's heartbeat. Because in the kingdom, the blessing is not in the pursuit, it's in the position. And if you get the position right, everything that's assigned to you will find you. It won't need your manipulation, it will recognize your authority. Say this, and say it with fire. I don't chase things, I attract them through obedience. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. And that is the secret to true prosperity. One of the most dangerous things you can ever do in life is pray for more when you haven't mastered what's already in your hand. You see, heaven doesn't respond to noise. It responds to governance. And I want to tell you something many churches want. God will not give you what you pray for. He will give you what you can manage. He is not emotional. He is strategic. He doesn't waste resources. He doesn't fund disorder. Very beginning, God said, let them have dominion. Not religion, not performance, not routine, dominion. Because until you operate in rulership, you disqualify yourself from certain levels of release. You're asking God to open doors. He's asking you to learn how to keep the ones He already opened from falling off the hinges. You want land, but you can't manage your apartment. You want a business, but your mind is still employee-minded. You want a global ministry, but you can't wake up consistently with discipline. Heaven doesn't promote gifting, it promotes growth. And here's what most don't understand. Resources are attracted to structure. The reason God hasn't sent rain is because your field is still out of order. I met a man once who asked me, why won't God bless my dream? I said, because it's still a dream. He blesses dominion, not fantasy. Dreams must become systems. Ideas must become structures. Vision must have order, or else it becomes a trap of your own imagination. Let me tell you this plainly. God is not impressed by vision boards. He is moved by stewardship. Adam didn't get more trees until he managed the garden he already had. The widow's oil didn't multiply until she shut the door and put her house in order. Order first, overflow second. So the question is not, Lord, when will you bless me? The real question is, Lord, have I become blessable? You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on your capacity to rule. Because until you take dominion over what's beneath you, heaven won't release what's beyond you. So stand up in your life. Speak to chaos. Manage your territory. Clean your space. Structure your day. Take responsibility. Because the king only funds what the steward can govern. Say this until it burns in your soul. I am not a beggar. I am a ruler. And that's when heaven will recognize your voice, not as a victim crying, but as a king commanding. It is possible to be anointed and still broke. It is possible to shout in church and still struggle in life. It is possible to love God and still be living beneath your calling. Why? Because passion without wisdom leads to poverty. We have confused spiritual noise with strategic thinking. We speak in tongues on Sunday, but we make foolish decisions on Monday. And let me tell you, God does not bless ignorance simply because it is sincere. He blesses wisdom because it aligns with His nature. The wealth of the wicked is not laid up for the emotional. It's laid up for the wise. Because money follows management. Resources respond to revelation in action. And until you begin to walk in wisdom, you will mismanage every miracle you receive. The Bible says, through wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding it is established. Notice, it doesn't say through fasting. It doesn't say through excitement. It says through wisdom. You don't need more prophecy. You need more strategy. You don't need another offering. You need better stewardship. You don't need a financial breakthrough. You need a mental renovation. Wisdom is not just knowing what is right. It's applying it at the right time, in the right way, for the right reason. It's divine intelligence made practical. And the tragedy is that many are praying for what they have not prepared to sustain. God will not pour wealth into a cracked container. He will not invest in what you haven't matured enough to manage. You're asking Him for more income, but you still ignore instruction. You want financial overflow, but you won't take time to learn how to budget, how to plan, how to invest. You don't need a bigger check, you need a bigger mind. Because wealth is not in your hands, it begins in your head. Until your thinking changes, your status will stay the same. And let me give it to you straight. Miracles bring relief, but wisdom brings rulership. God doesn't want you to survive by miracles forever. He wants you to live by mastery. When Solomon became king, he didn't ask for gold. He didn't ask for fame. He asked for wisdom. And what did God do? He gave him wealth as a result. Because wisdom will always bring what money cannot buy and attract what money can. So I ask you now, are you praying for answers, or are you developing the mind to carry them? Don't just seek breakthrough. Seek the mind that sustains it. Because wisdom is not optional in the kingdom. It is the currency of kings. And when you walk in it, you will never beg for what you were born to rule. Say this and let it echo in your soul. I will no longer wait for miracles. I will grow in mastery. That is how heaven begins to trust you with wealth. There's something buried inside you that your job can't measure. There is a seed within you that no salary can reward. Because you were never designed to live off wages. You were designed to live off your gift. Let me say this clearly. You don't get paid for your time. You get rewarded for your difference. And your difference is hidden in the thing you were born to release into the earth. Not borrowed, not copied, not replicated. Original, divine, unmistakable. That thing you do so effortlessly, that insight, that creativity, that ability to see solutions no one else sees, that's not a hobby. That's heaven's investment in you. But here's the tragedy. We've buried our gifts beneath fear. We've smothered them under systems. We've hidden them behind degrees and titles that validate conformity but not calling. And then we ask God to provide. But listen, God doesn't send money from the sky. He pulls wealth from within. When the widow cried out for help, the prophet didn't give her gold. He asked, "What do you have in your house?" Because the answer is never in the economy, it's always in your inventory. You are not empty, you've just ignored what's already inside. There are people in the earth right now who are assigned to your voice, your idea, your product, your gift. They are praying for what you are afraid to release. They are waiting for what you've been hiding. The danger is not that you won't succeed. It's that you'll become successful doing the wrong thing. And that's why your gift is so critical, because it keeps you tethered to authentic provision. Not survival, not hustle, provision. Provision that's sustainable because it flows from the inside out. You were never meant to chase the blessing. The blessing was coded to chase what you were born to give. But God cannot bless what you refuse to activate. You've got to stir it up. Fan into flame. Stop waiting for permission. You don't need a platform, you need boldness. You don't need a stage, you need clarity. You don't need applause. You need obedience. There's gold in your voice. There's strategy in your mind. There's wealth in your hands. But until you release it, heaven cannot multiply it. The seed of your next season is already in you. But if you don't sow it, don't expect a harvest. Say this with fire in your bones. I will not die with my gift buried. I will live in full release. Because true prosperity begins the moment you stop holding back what God gave you to pour out. If what you're building dies with you, it was never prosperity, it was pride in disguise. We've been trained to measure success by accumulation. More titles, more digits, more square footage. But in the kingdom of God, true prosperity is never measured by what stays with you. It's measured by what flows through you. God doesn't bless containers, He blesses conduits. You were not designed to hoard, you were designed to distribute. And the question isn't how much you've gained. The question is how many lives have been changed because you lived. Jesus said, whoever wants to be great must become the servant of all. That statement turns the world system upside down. Because in the kingdom, elevation follows humility, and prosperity follows generosity. And I don't mean generosity from a place of overflow. I mean the kind of generosity that disrupts your convenience, the kind that rearranges your schedule, the kind that refuses to let your success be your finish line, but makes it someone else's starting point. I met a woman once in a small village who couldn't read or write, yet raised 6 children, fed 2 neighborhoods, and taught dozens how to grow food from dry soil. She didn't own much, but she overflowed. Why? Because she didn't see what she had as hers. She saw her life as an answer. Are you living as an answer, or are you still waiting for someone to hand you one? You were not born just to take up space and retire comfortably. You were born to disrupt darkness. You were born to break cycles. You were born to make someone else's life easier, clearer, freer. Your voice may be the only hope someone hears this week. Your hands may be the bridge someone needs to cross into stability. And your story might unlock the chains around someone else's mind. Stop asking, how much can I get? Start asking, how many can I lift? Because the highest form of prosperity is not in possessing, it's in empowering. God didn't raise you up so you could be impressive. He raised you up so you could be impactful. So I challenge you today, shift from ownership to stewardship, from getting to giving, from surviving to serving. Say this aloud with conviction. I am not blessed to feel important. I am blessed to be a solution. And that is the mark of true prosperity. Prosperity was never meant to be a mystery. It was meant to be a manifestation, not a fantasy you chase, but a reality you live when you align with heaven's order. Because true prosperity doesn't begin in your wallet. It begins in your mind, your heart, your discipline, your gift, and most of all, your obedience. You were never created to just survive. You were born to govern, to multiply, to influence, and to leave a legacy that outlives your breath. So I charge you today, step out of the shallow waters of comfort and swim into the deep currents of your divine calling. Stop shrinking to fit in systems that were never designed to carry your capacity. Build, sow, serve, grow. And when it gets hard, and it will, remember this. You carry the kingdom inside of you. That means everything you need is already within your reach. You are not random. You are not ordinary. You are a vessel of prosperity designed by God to shift generations. Good luck as you walk boldly into the life you were created to live. May wisdom guide you, may favor surround you, and may your life speak louder than your words ever could. And from the depths of my heart, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for leaning in. And thank you for daring to believe that you were made for more. Now go, rule well, live full, and die empty.